Greetings, booktubers, and welcome back to Grammaticus Books. Welcome back to a tale of near disaster, a tale of woe, of near woe, a tale of storm clouds, thunderclaps, lightning bolts, but a tale that has a silver lining to those clouds at the end of it. So, what happened? What was this near mail disaster? Well, a viewer of the channel here, Neal, very kindly sent me a box containing a number of vintage science fiction paperbacks. And I have mail alerts on my phone, so I know generally when my mail's showing up and what's coming. And I saw that this box was due to be delivered, but it was on a day that I work. I'm semi-retired, I work part-time. So after my shift ended, I got in my car, I drive back here to Graham's End, south of the Shire. I'm pulling up into the driveway, and what do I see? But I see the box from Neal, and it has been placed by my postman, my mail carrier, on the ground, outside of my garage, uncovered, in a driving rainstorm. And when I say driving rainstorm, it has been raining for 2 days straight at this point. It's been raining so much, I actually have a portable sump pump hooked out up in my backyard in order to keep my backyard from turning into a lake. And I see this box just sitting there, and I know that it's been there for hours at a minimum because I don't get off until 6 o'clock in the afternoon. And then I have a 27-mile drive to get back to Graham's End, south of the Shire. And at best case scenario, the mailman had dropped that box off at 4 o'clock p.m. because they're not delivering anything past 4 p.m. So I know it has been sitting out for hours in this driving rainstorm, and my heart just goes down into the pit of my stomach. And I'm thinking in my head, oh my gosh, how am I going to tell Neal that his box of vintage science fiction books got ruined by my post carrier? So I jump out of the car, I run up, I grab the box. Here's the box itself, and it is completely logged with water. It is just saturated all the way through. And I had planned on doing a unboxing of the books here on the channel because people seem to enjoy watching other people open boxes. And I knew that had gone completely out the window. It was gone at that point, that plan. I had to get these books out of this waterlogged box as soon as possible to try to prevent any further damage to these classic vintage science fiction books. So I took the box in, I got out a knife, I opened it up right away. I opened up the box and pull out the books. And thank goodness that Neal had taken the time to wrap these books that he sent so professionally and so carefully. They were covered in bubble wrap, covered in foam packaging that was completely impermeable to the water, and there wasn't a drop of water on any of the books. So that is the silver lining in this thundercloud. Thank you, Neal. Thank you for sending the books very much, and thank you for wrapping them so well to prevent them from getting destroyed by my postman. So that's the tale of near woe. Also, hey, Neal is also a fellow YouTuber, but he doesn't do BookTube. He does videos on antique tools that he collects and he uses, and he demonstrates them on his YouTube channel. And I'm going to link Neal's channel down below. You should go check it out. It's really interesting stuff. So what did Neal send me? He sent me 5 books total. I got 5 vintage science fiction books. And the first one I got was Lucifer's Hammer, the collaboration between Jerry Pournelle and Larry Niven. And I'm in the middle of reading all of Larry Niven's Ringgold series right now. And I had The Mote in God's Eye, which is another collaboration between Jerry Pournelle and Larry Niven. And this is an excellent book. This is an excellent first contact book. And so I was really anxious to pick up their other very well-known collaboration, which is Lucifer's Hammer, which is about a comet that slams into the earth, and it's a post-apocalyptic tale, very sort of a kind of horror sci-fi tale that he has going here. One thing I didn't realize is how big this book is. It's not quite what I would call a white whale, but it's pretty dang close. It comes in at 640 pages. It's going to be a task to get through this one, but get through it I will, and I will review it when I do that. The best end of the world story since On the Beach. Superb detail, shudderingly believable. Frank Herbert. That's pretty good praise. You got Frank Herbert on the cover of your book praising it. That's pretty good. And this is the first who published this? Fawcett Crescent Books, 1977. And I do believe this is the first paperback edition of this. There was a hardback though. So thank you for that, Neal. The second book I got was Hammers Slammers by David Drake. I have a few David Drake books. This is probably one of his most famous, his Hammer Slammers series, and I believe this is the first book in that series. It contains 7 short stories of Hammer Slammers, who is a science fiction mercenary group. Ready to fight on any planet that needs a few good men, Hammer Slammers by David Drake, with an introduction by Jerry Pournelle. So we got a little Jerry Pournelle tie-in there. co-author of Lucifer's Hammer, which is kind of neat, with a nice little science fiction military cover on there. I like that. So thank you for that one, Neal. That's going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to that. And then we have Planet of the Dreamers by John MacDonald. Now, this is a pretty old one here. And John MacDonald is actually most famous for writing crime, suspense, fiction thrillers. So this is kind of a little bit of a rare science fiction foray here by John MacDonald in The Planet of the Dreamers. Inhabitants of another planet invade Earth by thought control. And then you got a real classic vintage science fiction painting there on the front of it with a man in a spacesuit with like a diver's helmet on it and a sort of classic Art Deco spaceship in the background. This is a very old book. It is Pocket Books Incorporated out of New York. Planet of the Dreamers, first printing May 1953, copyright 1951. So this one's looking in about 75 years here with the pocketbook edition, 25 cents, 1953. Very good stuff. Looking forward to that quite a bit. And then the fourth book that I got was Poul Anderson's Operation Chaos with just a gorgeous cover. I love that little painting there for the cover there on Operation Chaos. Although I wish it could have been bigger. I wish they would have expanded that up and made it a little bigger. So Operation Chaos. Steve Matchik was a werewolf. His wife, Virginia, was a witch. Together, they journeyed to hell. How can you not like that one right there? Although I just said HE double hockey sticks on YouTube, and YouTube doesn't like that. That might have been a mistake. But anyway, we're going to leave it in there. Poul Anderson, Operation Chaos, to Robert A. Heinlein, who first incorporated magic in his own red-haired Virginia. So I wonder if this is a little bit of kind of a ode, if you will, to Robert A. Heinlein. And this is a Lancer book, copyright 1971, all rights reserved. And I do not believe that it credits who the artist is on the front there. And again, that's too bad. That would have been nice if they could have blown that up. But that'll be interesting. Poul Anderson, Operation Chaos. All right, and the last book that I got here from Neal is The Ship of Ishtar by A. Merritt. That's Abraham Merritt. A very, very old book here. This is about John Kenton. He's an archaeologist and an adventurer who's a character of A. Merritt. And in here he receives in the mail, I believe it's in the mail, he gets a artifact, a Babylonian artifact of a little model ship. And the ship casts a spell on him and he's transported onto the ship and then into a sea of mystery and adventure. Much like the mail package that I got here, this arrived with a ancient Babylonian mystery in it in the mail. In a rainstorm, we got the water tie-in, and it's going to cast a spell on me and transport me into a world of adventure. So I kind of like that little parallel. It's a nice little parallel we've got going here with the Ship of Ishtar. And I've been looking for this book for a very long time. It has been on my want list for a long time. So thank you, Neal, for this book. I sincerely appreciate this book. I'm really looking forward to reading it. I was going to read The Drawing of the Dark by Tim Powers next, and this has definitely bumped that right off the list. This is going right to the top of my to-be-read list. So there's a nice little cover on there. It's a bit crude, or crude's maybe not the right word. It's not as polished as a lot of covers, but it's got a certain charm and appeal to it. And then you got sort of a negative of it on the back there that's really nice. And again, this is about a archaeologist, John Kenton, who has a ship delivered to him, an ancient Babylonian artifact. He's an archaeologist, and that the ship casts a spell on him, and he's transported onto this model ship, where it's a real ship on a sea of adventure. And this is going to be, I just have the highest hopes for this. I think this is going to be a spectacular book. It'll get an entire video on its own for sure. An ancient hypnotic enticement reaches out from the past to plunge John Kenton into a bygone world of unearthly temptations and unfathomable marvels. An unusual story so real and interesting as to carry the reader well along through all its strange and fantastic episodes, The Times of London. And the publication date on this, the original publication date was 1924. A. Merritt was writing a long time ago. This is an Avon Publications, and the only copyright I can find on it is in Roman numerals, and it says copyright MCMXXVI, and I'll put that up here on the on a text message so you guys can see that yourselves. I want to say this is copyright 1926, if I've got my Roman numerals correctly. MCMXXVI 1926. I'm pretty sure that's correct, which seems a bit odd. The price on it is Avon 35 cents from 1926. And then you've got this pocketbook guide here for 25 cents, published in the 1950s. So I'm not entirely sure if I'm reading that correctly, if there's another copyright date. It's the only one listed on here, though, is that Roman numeral. So I think this may very well be a nearly 100-year-old book here. It is very delicate. I'm going to have to be very careful with it, but it is catapulting straight to the top of my TBR list. Thank you very, very much, Neal, for the Ship of Ishtar and all these other wonderful books here that survived their adventure on the sea-tossed storm of rain and thunderclouds and misdelivered packages, and made it here to Graham's End unharmed, and now they can be enjoyed by me and the rest of you guys on the channel when I review them. So that's that. So what am I currently reading? What do I have to finish before I can get to the Ship of Ishtar? I'm currently reading the Holmes Dracula File by Fred Saberhagen of Berserker fame, and this is a blast. I am really loving this book a lot. It's a collaboration between Sherlock Holmes and Dracula, and Fred Saberhagen has put just a fantastic spin on Vlad Dracula here in London in his book, The Holmes Dracula File. This has been a ton of fun. I'm almost done with it, and then I'll talk about this on the channel. But that's it. I want to get this up here for Wednesday, by Wednesday afternoon, and then Friday I will have a complete review out on The Ringworld Throne by Larry Niven, the third book in the Ringworld series. So that's it. I got to wrap it up. I got to start my day, but I want to get this video shot. So I'm going to say take care, be safe, and I'll catch you guys in the future.